Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to Policy Bazaar Live, where we answer all your insurance and finance related queries. Today, we'll be exploring the world of credit cards and all the ins and outs of using them responsibly and effectively. We'll talk about credit card rewards, tips for managing your credit card balance, maintaining your credit score, and other key aspects related to credit cards. And answering all our questions will be Tina Malhotra, Business Head, Banking Partnerships and Acquisitions at Policy Bazaar AE. She's an expert in the field, so you can be rest assured that you're getting the most up to date advice from a professional. Hi, Tina. Welcome.
Hi,
Thank you so
Aditi.
much for taking the
Hi,
time.
Aditi. Thanks for your time and thanks for the introduction as well.
How are you doing?
I'm very well, Aditi. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well too. Are you excited to answer the
Super
questions?
excited. Super excited to take up the question and answers.
Wonderful. So, we'll be taking audience questions at the end of the webinar.
Sure.
And right now, let's just dive into the world of credit cards.
Absolutely. Let's go for it.
Alrighty, now let me start with the most basic question.
Sure.
What is a credit card?
So, well, a credit card is a type of credit facility provided by the banks that allow customers to borrow funds within a pre-approved credit limit. So it enables the customers to make purchase transactions on the goods and services they require, either at point of sale, which is the POS machines physically at the merchant's ends, or for the online transactions as well.
All right, wonderful. So it's basically a card that allows you to make monetary transactions.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
In that it functions like any other debit card would, but this has something called a credit limit, right?
Correct.
Can you elaborate on what that is?
And so a credit limit is determined and fixed by the issuing bank for the credit card. So it is the maximum amount a customer can spend on his or her credit card. So credit card is determined by banks, which can be changed every 6 months or so. That completely depends upon the customer's profile, customer repayment, customer's usage on the card, so on and so forth.
All right. So everybody essentially who's applying for a credit card will get a different credit limit?
Absolutely.
All right. Understood. So if there is a standard credit limit that somebody gets, can they apply for, like the card holder, can they request for or apply for a higher credit limit?
Yeah. So typically in the UAE, the cardholder needs to use the card for at least a period of 3 to 6 months before the card issuing bank considers a CLI. So CLI is a credit limit increase. So banks review the latest credit report, which is from the Etihad Bureau. So Etihad Bureau is the Al Etihad Bureau, which is the only bureau in the UAE, and the income documents of the customer if a customer is requesting for a specific credit limit. So banks also initiate the CLIs, which is the credit limit increase, proactively, depending upon the customer's profile, income, repayment history, the kind of customer spends the amount on a monthly basis, so on and so forth.
All right. And is this proactive credit limit, is there like a time frame to it, or is it just like on an ongoing basis the bank keeps assessing? And
so the bank keeps assessing basis your bureau report, the kind of purchase transactions the customer is making. The major governing factor is the repayment. So the customer needs to make the payment either on time or before the due date. So the more the customer is proactively doing that, that will actually help the customer to increase his credit limit.
All right, understood. So Tina, my question is, why would somebody want to use a credit card instead of a debit card? Like, what are the benefits that are associated with a credit card apart from the expanded credit limit that you get? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So the main benefit of a credit card, besides the short-term credit facility, is the rewards or the loyalty program, which is extended by the banks on these credit cards. So these rewards or the loyalty programs can be broadly classified into 3 buckets, which is essentially the cashback, which is the topmost loyalty program, and the air miles and points. The type of rewards anybody can earn or a customer can earn depends upon the kind you have, the kind of card you have. So first we will talk about the cashback credit cards, which are the most popular credit cards in the UAE. So if you actually see, the traditionally cashback has been the most preferred or the most rewarding or loyalty card in the UAE, and it is the most popular card amongst the UAE residents, as they see an immediate value back on their monthly credit card statements. So majorly, all cashback credit cards lets the customers earn a percentage of the cashback based on their spendings. So the percentage usually differs depending upon the category the customer is spending on. So the categories can be groceries, utilities, utility payments, supermarkets, fuel, school fee, etc. So the cashback percentage typically offered in the UAE is between 1 to 3%, with the maximum capping on the amount of cashback earned each month. So cashback can be earned in the form of a pure play cashback, which is like a statement credit. That all depends upon the spend criteria defined by the bank. Cashback can be earned in the form of a welcome bonus offer. A cashback can be earned in the form of an Amazon voucher or a Noon voucher by the customer.
Okay, what can you elaborate a little bit on what pure play is?
So
What is a
basically, it's actually a cashback defined by the bank. So, for example, today I, apply for a credit card. My salary is hypothetically a 10,000, and the bank is giving an offer that if my card is approved and if my salary is coming as 10,000 basis other parameters as well, when my card is approved, I get a cashback of 500 dirhams basis a spend criteria of say about 3,000 dirhams in the first month of card issuance.
Okay.
Once I spend that money, the next month the cashback gets credited to my bank account, or the
Correct.
cashback gets credited to my cashback credit card itself, so that it can be adjusted against your monthly statements as well.
Understood. Understood. All right. Yeah. So, what about the other types of
So the
benefit?
other major benefit which is extended by the banks is the air miles. So most cast issuers are, offering air miles as a reward, having co-branded cards with major airlines in the UAE. So, for example, Emirates with their Skywards miles and Etihad with their guest miles. So here in every dirham a customer is spending on the card, the customer is entitled to earn air miles on the respective program which has been defined in the card itself. The same air miles can be redeemed against the flight bookings, hotel bookings, or any other experiences which are defined in that program. So, besides this, some of the issuers which are in a certain profile are also getting complimentary premium benefits like silver or gold tier membership. Then there are programs depending upon the customer's profile as well as the income and the kind of the usages on the card.
Okay. Okay.
So just
Understood.
for reference, there are certain examples for Emirates Skywards as well as Etihad Guest Skywards. So for Emirates Skywards, they would offer a complimentary Emirates Skywards Silver tier membership, or they will fast track your Emirates Skywards Gold tier membership. They will offer a complimentary airport transfer, or they will give you unlimited access to airport lounges across the world. Same is with the case of Etihad Guest Miles, which is essentially a welcome bonus of Etihad Guest Miles. Then you have complimentary airport transfers, or you have airport lounge access across the world. So this is all dependent on the kind of income bracket the customer falls in. It's the kind of customer profile as well as the usage on the card.
Understood. Understood. And what about the points system? How does that work?
So it's the rewards point system, like I mentioned. So the customer can redeem their rewards point system basis. Points can be redeemed in the form of air miles. Points can be redeemed in the form of smiles. Points can be redeemed in the form of cashback as well. Basis the spend the customer is incurring on a monthly basis, and it can be redeemed on various different categories as well. Like I mentioned, flight, hotel bookings, your ride-hailing apps. It can be on your entertainment benefits, which is your cinema tickets, dining discounts, so on and so forth.
All right, okay. So, and that will depend on the credit card issuer, right? Like
Absolutely.
whatever you can redeem it for.
And it will depend completely on the type of the credit card as well.
Understood, understood. Okay, so Tina, going forward, like, what is the minimum salary requirement for someone to apply for any of these credit cards? Or can different people apply for different credit cards?
So in UAE, as per the central bank guidelines, it is mandatory for a customer to have a minimum salary of 5,000 dirhams. So this 5,000 dirhams has to be the fixed component credited directly into your bank account by your company. This should exclude the variable component. So anybody who's getting salary directly credited from the company in the bank account is considered as a salary. So anybody who's getting a salary in exchange, cash, or check is essentially not entitled to a credit card. So, like I mentioned, mandatory figure as per the central bank guidelines is 5,000 dirhams without the variable component.
Okay, so does that mean that anybody who's conducting a business is also not, liable or eligible to get a credit card?
So more so in the UAE, majorly the salaried customers get the credit cards, but there are self-employed customers who receive the credit card, but there are separate guidelines and there are separate processes for self-employed customers. But the banks are majorly targeting a salaried customer.
Okay, okay, got it. So if as a salaried employee, I want to go ahead and apply for a credit card, in like what would the process of that look like in the UAE?
Yeah, so there are various ways for applying a credit card in the UAE. So the traditional ways have been like, applying through a branch or through a customer service center. But we've seen a major cosmic shift, the way the customer banks over the past 2 to 3 years, and especially after the COVID period. So these days, the customers are preferring a contactless approach, and most of the banks are focusing on complete digital acquisitions. So actually giving the card digitally to the customers, either through their mobile banking apps or either through their bank official website for the respective card. So what happens is the banks are adapting to this approach and they are launching end-to-end digital journeys without any human interaction with the bank staff. So what happens is the banks are introducing these journeys via the UAE pass, or you can scan your Emirates ID passport, or if required, a visa copy in the app itself or on the web portal, and put in your basic details and employment details. And there itself, the bank will give you a in principle decisioning of your card.
Okay,
These are
okay,
the straight through processes defined by the banks. And more so, most of the banks are moving towards this approach because they want to cut short the traditional way of banking.
okay. Do banks also automatically reach out to eligible, customers to offer them credit cards?
Absolutely. So, for your reference, within the journeys itself, or via customer service or via branch, there is something called a bureau score pull. So, Etihad bureau score pull with the complete bureau report as well, just to assess the eligibility of the customer to see what sort of bureau history the customer has. So that is linked to the lending products the customer has, whether it's a credit card or whether it's a loan, whether it's a personal loan, mortgage, or a car loan. So the banks check various different parameters. The basic parameter definitely would be a credit score and obviously a complete bureau history to understand, the customer's lending product patterns.
Okay. What exactly is a credit score?
So credit score is a three-digit score number. So like I mentioned, in the UAE, there is one bureau, which is Al Etihad Bureau, which is AECB. So basically, they've defined the range of the credit score right from 300 to a 900. So credit score predicts how likely you are to make your loan and credit card payments on time. So lower the score, the higher is the risk, and higher the score, the lower is the risk. So there are
Okay.
different brackets of scores which have been defined by Etihad Bureau. Besides a score, the bank considers a full credit report of the customer, wherein they look at a repayment history of the customer, if there is any kind of a check bounce, if there's any kind of a mispayment, which can be a loan mispayment or a credit card mispayment, or your electricity, water bills mispayment, or your mobile mispayments, or if there is any kind of a delinquency, which is essentially your check bounce, or there are multiple factors banks look at in that.
Okay, so even if somebody has never applied for a loan or a credit card before, there are other parameters in place to check the credit score.
Well, if you've not applied for a credit card or a loan in the past, Bureau will not throw up a score. So you need to have a minimum of 6 months to 9 months Bureau history for a Bureau to calculate your score. So the score is calculated basically as per your repayment history of that particular card or a loan, and as per what kind of if there are any check bounces or if there are any missed repayments as well, the Bureau score will be calculated.
But if somebody doesn't have that, there won't exist a score.
No, there won't exist. So Bureau needs, like I mentioned, 6 months to actually 12 months in terms of calculating your score.
So, like, as soon as somebody starts earning money in the UAE, they get under the bureau scanner, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so today when you start earning in UAE, so for example, if you're new to country customer, usually banks, for you to get a credit card or get a loan, they look at minimum 3 salary credits. That's the usual norm, consecutive salary credits. Otherwise, if you're a part of a listed company with a bank, they might cut short that to a 1 month salary credit. Post that, once you get a lending product or a credit card, you can start building up your bureau history there.
Okay, got it, got it. You mentioned that the numbers for a credit score range from 300 to 900, right? So 300 is the lower end, which means it's a bad credit score.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What are the implications of having a bad credit score?
So there are a lot of implications. So there are lower approval rates on credit cards and loans. There are higher chances of decline of both lending product as well as credit cards. There are higher interest rates on loans, lower amount approvals on loans, and there are lower credit card limits as well. So the lower the score, like I said, higher is the chance of risk. So in case of credit card, if your credit card gets approved, yet you will get a lower credit card limit. So that is completely predefined by a bank and varies from bank to bank, card to card. It's at the complete discretion of the bank.
Okay, okay. Is there a way for somebody to improve their credit score? Can they, go ahead and do that if they have a bad one?
Absolutely. So, like I mentioned before, also the most imperative factor is making timely payments on or before the due date, and avoiding bouncing checks, reducing the number of credit cards and loans. And one of the key parameters is reducing your outstanding balance and credit card limit utilization. So, if my credit card limit is, say, for example, 40,000, so it shouldn't be the case that I've exhausted the entire credit card limit within the same month itself. So it will impact my bureau score.
Okay, okay. How can somebody check their own bureau score?
So there are multiple ways to check the bureau score. One is by downloading the Etihad Bureau app, which is the AECB app, wherein you can log in, register, and apply for a credit score. And you need to pay 10 dirhams plus VAT to get your credit score. Plus, on Policy Bazaar, so we've been running one of the biggest credit awareness program in the UAE. So we are integrated with Etihad Bureau digitally. So wherein the customer can pull his credit score in real time on policybazaar.ae after fulfilling certain soft eligibility checks. So the biggest factor is the customer does not have to incur any kind of cost in terms of pulling the score. Plus, it doesn't impact his score. So it's a self-pull. So basis his credit score, we start recommending the kind of credit cards he can go in for and the kind of loans he can apply.
Okay, okay. We spoke about, when you were talking about improving the credit score, you spoke about repayments, right? What exactly is a repayment, and Could you just elaborate on that term a little? Because I've seen that being thrown around a lot in context to credit cards.
Yeah, so repayment or a payment history is the biggest determinant of a credit score. So, for your reference, it contributes close to about 35% of your total score. So, anybody who is making the payments late or repayments are late will have a major impact or a negative impact on the credit score. So, the payments have to be made on time or before the due date in order to ensure that your bureau score or a bureau history doesn't go downwards.
Okay.
So whether you're applying for a personal loan, home loan, car loan, credit card, any type of banking product, a bureau score is the most imperative one.
So, apart from the bureau score, what are other key factors that banks look at or consider while issuing a credit card?
So every bank has their internal scoring for, which is assigned to a particular customer once the customer applies for a credit card. So that internal scoring varies from bank to bank, and it's their internal factor, which is defined by various different teams. But just to name you a few factors which are considered in internal scoring is obviously one is a bureau score. Then a complete bureau history of the customer is considered. There they look at the repayment history of the customer, bureau length as well. So usually banks consider at least 9 months to 12 months of a bureau history, who has a strong bureau history in terms of lending product or a credit card. They look at a credit card or a credit limit utilization as well. They look at a debt burden ratio as well, so which is considered less than 50% by the banks. Then, if you are a part of listed company or a non-listed company, if your company has a valid website or not, the biggest factor obviously is your 3 salary credits, consecutive salary credits. So today, if you're applying for a card with salaries requirement is about 20,000, so then they ensure that salary credited is minimum 20,000 every month, which is a fixed component outside the variable component. So plus they look at your bureau history in terms of if there is any kind of a delinquency or check bounce or a missed payments, which is a regular missed payment on your Deva Seva bills or Do or Etisalat bills. They look at that, and they have their more internal factors in terms of scoring a customer. So scoring besides an individual customer is based on the company scoring as well. So like I mentioned, if you're not part of the listed companies, so it may so happen they might require additional documentation from the customer from the company point of view, right? From the company trade license, their third party will come and do the company verification, employee verification, so on and so forth.
Okay, you mentioned a term called debt burden ratio. Could you explain a little bit about what that is?
So it's basically takes your loan liabilities as well as 5% of your card limits as well. So that is something which is considered by the bank. So like I said, banks consider less than 50% of a debt burden ratio. So usually the customers have to declare, or the banks pull the bureau report. There they can calculate in terms of what is the loan installment the customer is paying on a monthly basis and what is the overall credit card limit, and they consider 5% of the credit card limit there. And they do the calculation. If it's less than 50% or in the range of 40% or 45%, then they move forward with the case. So like I said, the customer, obviously to maintain a debt burden ratio, if he's already holding multi-credit cards, he has to reduce his credit card utilization for him to apply for another credit card.
Got it. Do credit card inquiries or credit inquiries also affect the credit score of a person?
Yeah, so applying for more credit several times. So each time that you ask for a credit, a hard credit inquiry shall be made on the customer's account. So every hard inquiry shall affect the customer's credit score, even when the approval is not granted. So payment history, like I mentioned before, also is the biggest denominating factor of a credit score. So it contributes close to about 35% of your total credit score. So making payments on time is the most important factor. So if you don't make payments of time, then it will have a major negative impact on your credit score.
Understood. Got it.
Yeah.
We have spoken so much about credit score. What is an ideal credit score that banks look at when issuing a credit card?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, credit score is one of the key factors banks look at. But since the range is from 300 to 900, so usually there are four ranges which is defined by Etihad Bureau, but banks can vary from this range as well. So for your reference, anything which is between 680 to 730 out of 900 is considered as a very good credit score, or anything which is 731 and above is considered as an excellent credit score. But it may so happen that there's certain banks with certain type of cards, considering the customer profile as well, the banks may issue a card on a score of 540 or 541 as well. So like I mentioned, they look at multiple other factors as well besides a credit score for them to issue a card.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, were you saying something? Sorry.
No. Please go ahead.
So when, in case, let's say somebody has utilized a lot of their limit on one particular credit card and they're not able to make the entire payment in one go, uh, one missed payment, will that affect their credit score, and what can they do to avoid, you know, the a missed payment affecting their credit score?
So, missed payment on a credit card will definitely affect their score. So, in case the customer is not able to make the full repayment value of the credit card, the customer should look at a minimum payment amount which is there mentioned in the credit card statement, which is usually 5% of the overall monthly expense they've incurred on the credit card. So that is something the customer should make to avoid an impact on the credit score or any interest charges which are levied next month itself.
So a minimum payment will defer that from happening.
Absolutely.
Okay, what about the billing cycle, right? So once, let's say, the bill for the credit card for the month has come,
Yeah.
how much of a period does a resident have to pay off the debt for the previous month?
Yeah. So in UAE, the standard is usually a 28 to 31 days billing cycle. So the bill gets generated from the 28 to the 31 days. So the customer has to make payment within that time frame itself. And if the customer refrains to do so, he should, actually pay at least the minimum due amount as well.
Okay, got it. Tina, we can, I think, take questions from the audience now. A lot of them are coming in.
More than happy to do that.
Yeah. We have a question from Abhimanyu Chaturvedi. He asks, can a personal loan be a better alternative to credit cards in some cases?
So, well, that completely depends upon your requirement as well. So, personal loan is an amount which will be given to you by the bank. But on a credit card, the kind of benefits you can enjoy, like I mentioned, right from a rewards points to air miles to cashback, I don't think so. A personal loan would guarantee that to you. So, anybody who looks for a credit card definitely looks at these key factors when they go ahead with a credit card. So they are both different categories which cannot be compared.
I hope that answers your question, Abhimanyu. Uh, on the same subject, Tina, we have a question from Anirudh Soni.
Yeah.
How can I know which credit card is best for me? Should I see the features or the fee or the bank reputation?
So completely dependent on your requirements, Abhimanyu. It's a good question. So today it depends upon the kind of features and benefits you're looking forward in a credit card. So today, for example, if you're looking for, say, a cashback benefit in a credit card, there are a lot of credit cards without the annual fee as well. So if you're not wanting to incur the annual fee, but yet enjoy the feature of a cashback, whether it's a cashback, immediate cashback, or an entertainment cashback, or a fuel cashback, or a grocery cashback, you can do so. So one credit card can come up with multiple packages as well, with no annual fee, great features and benefits. And all banks in UAE are well credited banks, right from a local bank to an international bank. So all that can be combined in a single credit card as well.
I hope you got the answer, Anirudh. Tina, the next question is from Nupur Jain.
Sure.
Which credit card is considered the best? Is there something as a best credit card? Is there such thing?
Well, I would give credit to all the credit cards as the best credit cards. So, like I said, Nupur, it will completely depend on your requirements. What is the feature and benefit you are looking at in the credit card? So, today, if you are looking at a travel benefit, then you should definitely look at a best credit card in Air Miles, which can give you, a silver tier membership or an upgrade to a gold tier membership, unlimited access to the airport. You can look for airport transfers, discounts on ride hailing apps as well. So it completely depends upon, the kind of benefit you're looking at in a credit card. Then you can consider that as a best credit card for you. And it depends upon the salary segment you are operating on as well. Because for every salary segment, there is a card, with most of the banks as well.
All right, moving on, Tina, to the next one. We have one from Radha Iyer. She asks, is there any credit card fee that I should be wary of? Like, I'm sure she's asking about hidden fees or like hidden charges.
So there is annual membership fee. So when you apply for a credit card, you are well aware. So the bank actually gives you a complete heads up either through their app journeys or when you visit the branch or contact center. You are completely wary of in terms of what is the annual membership fee. So there are certain banks, like I said, which are offering free for life credit cards. There are certain segment of cards which are paid credit cards with annual membership fee. Then there is a late payment fee as well, which is levied by the banks. So every credit card comes with this fee, as well as whether it's the annual membership fee, late fee, or any other hidden charges. So all that information you can find on policybazaar.ae across banks.
Wonderful. Radha, you can log on to Policy Bazaar AE and check all of this information.
And you can drop in your lead on our website, and our team will get in touch with you shortly to assist you on that.
Absolutely. Tina, the next question is from Pratima Singh.
Sure.
As an expat, is it possible for me to get a credit card before 3 salary credits?
So, Pratima, it is possible. So, some of the banks still offer the customer, which is essentially tagged as a new to country customer, credit cards for less than 3 salary credits or less than 3 consecutive salary credits, provided you're a part of the listed companies in their bank. So, every bank has a prerequisite of listed companies and a non-listed companies or a blacklisted companies. So if you fall in a certain category of listed companies, so yes, considering your profile and other factors as well, the bank may issue you a credit card.
Okay, so the next question, Tina, is from Avneet Kaur. She asks, can I pay rent with my credit card?
Yes, definitely you can pay rent with your credit card as well. So, I mean, you can, so for me in today's scenario, so usually the landlords ask for, checks in advance. So whether it's a quarterly check or whether it's a 6 monthly check or whether it's an annual check as well. Some customers prefer to pay their rents through credit card as well, wherein they give the authorization to the landlord on the credit card itself. But usually, as a norm, what I have seen or what I have done in the UAE is you give out these signed checks to the landlord, which is linked to your debit card rather, and pay for your rents.
Okay. The next question, Tina, is from Shambhavi Chaudhary.
Sure.
She's asking, I don't make a lot of big expenditures regularly. Would a credit card still be suitable for me?
Absolutely. So, irrespective of expenditure you are doing, you can apply for a credit card and redeem the benefits on that particular card. So, like I said, besides the expenditure, what kind of benefits you are looking for a credit card, you can apply for that type of card for various different banks and look at redeeming those benefits with a limited expenditure as well.
Okay.
So essentially, in that case, I would recommend a free for life credit card to her.
Yeah. Shambhavi, I hope that you're taking notes for this. We have one other question, Tina. Like, we'll take just one more. Moshri Das asks, what must be the credit utilization ratio in order to maintain a good credit score?
Honestly, that completely depends on bank to bank. So usually you should look at least about, keeping a buffer of about 25 to 30% on your credit utilization. So today, if your credit limit is, say, for example, 20,000 a month, so you can maximum exhaust it to about 70 to 75% so that, your debt burden ratio, your score is actually in check, rather than exhausting your complete credit card limit. And even though if you've exhausted your credit card limit in a particular month, how well you've repaid that money in the payment cycle itself. So if you paid it on time, on or before the due date, that will still be considered as a good record.
Okay, great. There's one more question, Tina. Someone's asking, Anshita Agarwal, sorry, is asking, should I get an international credit card or an Emirates-based one?
So, well, it depends upon your requirements. So today you have, like I said, local banks, which is, Emirates-based one banks, and there are international banks as well. So both these banks, offer amazing benefits and offers to the customers. So today both banks offer free for life cards. Both banks offer, cashback cards, air mile cards, movie benefits cards, dining discounts cards, points cards. So it's completely dependent on you in terms of the requirements. So it depends upon the kind of spends you want to incur, whether you want to incur more spends domestically, internationally, all that can be considered in these factors.
Okay, great. Thank you, Tina. Thank you so much. This was super insightful. Thank you for taking out the time.
Thanks so much for your time. Pleasure connecting.
Yeah, pleasure connecting. And for everybody who's watching, you can log on to policybazaar.ae for any additional information on credit cards. And we will see you in the next live session
Thank you
with
so
Policy
much.
Bazaar.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for the time.